हाँ हाँ, सब हो रहेगा।
ఆ? ఉండాలనా కంటిన్యూ కంటిన్యూ ఉండాలనా ల్యాప్టాప్ ఇప్పుడు ఉన్నది కదా మాడనుగా కంటిన్యూ కంటిన్యూ నడుస్తుంటది. ఉమ్. వీడియో ఆడియో అన్ని అంతేనా ఇట్లనే
నమస్తే
సార్ నమస్తే అండి.
నమస్తేనా
నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్తే నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్తే కిషన్ సార్, నమస్తే జగన్
నమస్తే
భాయ్,
వివేకన్న నమస్తే
నమస్తే. అడ్మిటింగ్ ఆల్. జగన్ భాయ్ వచ్చిన అడ్మిట్ చేసేస్తున్నాయి.
చెయ్యి
ఎవరున్నా వాళ్ళని చేసేస్తున్నా అందరినీ.
కరెంట్ పోయిందా?
నమస్తే. అదే సార్,
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ అన్న.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ అందరికి నమస్కారం.
అందరికి నమస్తే.
అందరికి
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్.
ఒక 2 minutes we are going to start our కిషన్ జీ నమస్తే.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
మేడం జాయిన్ అయింది.
మేడం జాయిన్ అయింది. అవును.
నమస్తే
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 మేడం.
యదయ్య జీ.
నమస్తే
మేడం.
జీ, నమస్తే
నమస్తే జీ. నమస్తే.
నమస్తే.
మేడం నమస్తే మేడం.
నమస్తే నమస్తే విల్ స్టార్ట్ ఇన్ 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, madam. 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes.
సార్ నమస్తే సార్.
నమస్తే.
నమస్తే.
సార్ ఓకే నా?
నమస్తే సార్.
మధు
నమస్తే
సార్.
మ్యామ్.
నమస్తే.
ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఇస్ ఓకే సార్.
నమస్తే మేడం.
నేను ఈ జూమ్ లింక్ కూడా షేర్ చేశాను అందరికి. సో జాయిన్ అయ్యారు సార్ ఆల్రెడీ.
ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే.
ఓకే రైట్.
నమస్తే అశోక్ జీ.
సార్ నమస్కారం సార్.
నమస్తే.
సార్ నమస్కారం సార్.
నమస్తే సార్. నమస్తే.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం.
నమస్తే.
నమస్తే. తిరుపతి సార్.
నమస్తే తిరుపతి సార్. నమస్తే.
నమస్కారం సార్.
సార్ వంశీ సార్, యూట్యూబ్ రావట్లేదు సార్. ఒకసారి చెక్ చేయండి, యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ చెక్ చేస్తే.
Yes, ma'am. He is working on it. Please,
Okay,
ask
sir.
him to join Zoom first.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే.
జూమ్ లో జాయిన్ గా ముందు.
అది కాదు సార్, వేరే వాళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు మనం చాలా మందికి
నమస్తే
link
మేడం.
share
యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ ఇప్పుడే మళ్ళీ షేర్ చేశాను మన గ్రూప్ చాట్ లో. ఒక్కసారి
Okay,
చూడండి
sir.
మేడం. నమస్తే.
Done. చెక్ చేస్తాం.
రైట్ రైట్.
Now it's working. Now it's working. Please inform everyone.
ఎవరు వంశీ?
అవును సార్, ఇప్పుడు వర్క్ అవుతుంది. వంశీ చెప్పాడు కదా, ఇప్పుడు ఓపెన్ చేస్తే వర్క్ అవుతుంది.
రైట్ రైట్. అదే
లేదా సార్ 8:10 కి స్టార్ట్ చేసి.
ఓకే మేడం.
ఉంది ఆన్లైన్ లోనే. ఆన్లైన్ లో.
ఓకే, షెల్ వి స్టార్ట్? నమస్తే జీ. నమస్తే మేడం.
సార్ యూట్యూబ్ రావట్లేదు సార్. డిలీటెడ్ బై అప్లోడర్ అని వస్తుంది.
కొత్త లింక్ చూడండి మేడం, కొత్త లింక్ ఇప్పుడు ఈ చాట్ బాక్స్ లో పెట్టాం కదా.
యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ కూడా రావట్లేదు అన్నయ్య. యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ కూడా వీడియో హ్యాస్ బీన్ రిమూవ్డ్ బై ద అప్లోడర్ అని వస్తుంది.
కొత్తది వర్క్ అవుతుంది.
ఇప్పుడే పెట్టాడు అది చూడండి, ఒక హాఫ్ మినిట్ పెట్టాడు.
చాట్ బాక్స్ లో ఉంది కదా, అది తీసుకొని కాపీ చేసి పెట్టండి.
మేడం చాట్ బాక్స్ లో ఉంది, చాట్ బాక్స్ లో ఉంది. మీకు పంపించింది కాదు, ఇప్పుడు చాట్ బాక్స్ లో, ఈ జూమ్ లింక్ లో ఉన్న చాట్ బాక్స్ లో పనిచేస్తుంది.
అది మిగతా వాళ్ళకు పోస్ట్ చేయాలి.
Yes, it's working.
బట్ మిగతా గ్రూప్లలో పెట్టాలి కదా అది.
సార్ పెడతారు సార్, అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఎవరెవరికి పెట్టారు వాళ్ళు ఎవరికి పెడతారు.
గ్రూప్లలో పెడితే మిగతా వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ అయిపోతారు. ఇక్కడ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఏమో దీంట్లో అందరికి అలో లేదు కదా.
మళ్ళీ ఒకటి అంటే కొత్తగా పెట్టాడు. అది ఇప్పుడు నేను వంశీకి పంపించాను, శైలజ మేడం కు అండ్ స్వప్న మేడం పంపించాను. అది షేర్ చేస్తే అది వచ్చేస్తుంది. ఓకే,
గ్రూప్లలో చేయండి.
గ్రూప్లలో పెట్టండి.
గ్రూప్ లో షేర్ చేశారా వంశీ?
ఎస్ సార్, షేర్ చేస్తాం సార్ అన్ని గ్రూప్లలో.
వంశీ మీరు చేయండి
సార్. ఎవరి గ్రూప్ లో వాళ్ళు చేస్తుంటారు. మీరు యూ కెన్ స్టార్ట్ సార్.
ఓకే.
కిషన్ సార్ నమస్తే, యాదవ్ సార్ నమస్తే, వంశీ సార్ నమస్తే.
అందరికి నమస్తే. అందరికి నమస్తే. రాజన్న టైం అయింది, స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాం.
స్టార్ట్ అయిందా?
ఓకే, we are going to start.
ఓకే.
నమస్తే రాజేష్ సార్. టు స్టార్ట్ అవర్ ప్రోగ్రామ్. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. మనం ఈరోజు 301 మేడం జీ అహిల్యాబాయి హోల్కర్ యొక్క జయంతి సందర్భంగా ఈ యొక్క ఆన్లైన్ మీటింగ్ ని ఏర్పరచడం జరిగింది. ఈ యొక్క ఆన్లైన్ మీటింగ్ లో విచ్చేసినటువంటి ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి ABRSM తరపున, తెలంగాణ ABRSM తరపున అభినందన తెలియజేస్తున్నాను. ఎస్పెషల్లీ ఈరోజు మన యొక్క ఈ ప్రోగ్రాంకి ముఖ్య వక్తగా మన నేషనల్ జనరల్ సెక్రటరీ ప్రొఫెసర్ గీతా భట్ మేడం జీ, ఆల్ ఇండియా ABRSM వారు మనకు ఈరోజు ముఖ్య వక్తగా విచ్చేయడం జరిగింది. ఈ యొక్క ప్రోగ్రాం మనకు తెలుసు, తెలంగాణ ప్రాంతం నుంచి గత ఫిబ్రవరిలో మనము 300 ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ చేయాలని మనం నిర్ణయించడం జరిగింది. 300 ప్రోగ్రాంలు విత్ 300 గంటల్లో చేయాలనుకున్నాము. వి సక్సీడ్. వి డన్ 327 programs in 300 hours in various higher education institutes. This is our Telangana activity. We done Ahilyabai Holkar ji birthday celebration, Lokmata Devi Ahilyabai Holkar. So ఈ రోజు ఈ 301వ జన్మదిన సందర్భంగా మనం ఈ యొక్క ప్రోగ్రామ్ ని తెలంగాణ ప్రాంతంలో జరుపుకోవాలని మనం నిర్ణయించడం జరిగింది. ఈ యొక్క ప్రోగ్రామ్ కి ముందు మనము సరస్వతి వందనంతో ప్రారంభిస్తాము. సరస్వతి వందనం తర్వాత మనం ప్రోగ్రామ్ కంటిన్యూ అవుతుంది. సరస్వతి వందనం.
చూసుకుంటాను. ఇంకో ఇట్లా ఉంది చూడు.
శ్వేత పద్మాసనా యా
Ground break up.
నమస్తే జీ అందరికి. తెలంగాణ నుంచి మనము హైయర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ తరపు నుంచి లోక్మాత అహిల్యాబాయి హోల్కర్ యొక్క ఈ యొక్క 300 సంవత్సరాల సందర్భంగా మనము సక్సెస్ఫుల్ గా 327 ప్రోగ్రాంలు చేసుకోవడం అనేది జరిగింది. ఈ యొక్క ప్రోగ్రామ్ లో హైయర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ తరపు నుంచి అంటే డిగ్రీ కాలేజెస్, ఇంజనీరింగ్ కాలేజెస్, జూనియర్ కాలేజెస్, స్టేట్ యూనివర్సిటీస్, సెంట్రల్ యూనివర్సిటీస్, రీసెర్చ్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్స్ అందరూ కలిపి మనము 300 గంటల్లో 327 ప్రోగ్రాంలు చేయడం అనేది జరిగింది. ఈ యొక్క ప్రోగ్రామ్ ని పురస్కరించుకొని ఈ రోజు లోక్మాత అహిల్యాబాయి హోల్కర్ యొక్క జన్మదిన సందర్భంగా 301 జన్మదిన సందర్భంగా ఈ యొక్క ఆన్లైన్ మీటింగ్ ఏర్పరచడం అనేది జరిగింది. ఈ ఆన్లైన్ మీటింగ్ ను ఉద్దేశించి కిషన్ జీ మన దక్షిణ క్షేత్ర ప్రముఖ 2 నిమిషాలు మాట్లాడాల్సింది కూర్చున్నాను ప్లీజ్.
Namaste ji, respected Professor Geeta Bhatt, All India General Secretary, Akhil Bharatiya Rashtriya Shikshak Mahasangh, and Dr. Yadav sir, Convener ABRSM Telangana State, and Professor Raj Reddy, Co-Convener Akhil Bharatiya Rashtriya Shikshak Mahasangh Telangana State, and the Technical Education President Secretary and College Education President Secretary, and all other members of ABRSM Telangana. Good evening to all of you. This program is conveyed regarding the Ahilyabai Holkar Lokmata Devi program 300-year birth centenary celebrations. So we know that the Telangana state initiated to conduct the programs initiated by the All India ABRSM unit. Year-long program they have given for this program, and the Telangana is specifically planned for 10 days program. 10 days because of the 300 years birth centenary celebrations. The 10 days program means it is 300 hours, 300 programs, and 3,000 the faculty members involved with the 30,000 delegates participate in this program. In this way, it is planned, and the program was successfully conducted. The inaugural program is conducted in Osmania University, the auditorium in PGRR CD auditorium. It is conducted online. On that day also, we have conducted the online meeting, and similarly, after completing the program, so again we thought that it is better to conduct on actually the birthday of the Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar program, birthday centenary celebrations of 300 years. So on this occasion, to give or inspire our Telangana state. So the Sri Gita Bhattji is given time to us for the give the message to and give the information regarding the Ahilyabai Holkar. And this program is particularly, that the Zoom is restricted to only limited people, so that only limited important executive members are allowed in the Zoom meeting, and all others are given the link of web YouTube link. It is given, so all others are viewing. All other teams, all of state Telangana, they are all taken joined in the YouTube link. So I. On this occasion. So I thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I invite Professor Gita Bhattji to be inspire and give the information regarding the Lokamata Ahilyabai Devi Holkar. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So always our National General Secretary Grace to our Telangana. Madam, she came to our executive meeting, and always she is available with us. So thank you, madam. Thank you for coming to join and give the direction regarding the Ahilyabai Holkar birthday celebrations. So one more thing I want to request Sailaja madam from Technical Education General Secretary, please give me a talk only 2 minutes, madam. Please. Sailaja madam is there from JNTU.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please, madam.
Yes. Namaste, everyone. Indeed, it's a great privilege for us, for all the technical team of Telangana ABRSM to be a part of Lokamata Ahilyabai Holkar 300 years birth anniversary celebrations. From Technical Education Committee, we are very proud to say we have conducted almost 127 programs, even though our target was 100. And a huge number of people like students, faculty, and others inspired a lot from the great personality. And we hope we carry her legacy and move forward in our lives, and we get a good society out of that. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. From Degree Bhaskar, Dr. Bhaskar is there. Please speak for 1 minute regarding your programs.
Yeah.
From graduation, Dr. Ji.
Yeah.
Bhaskar.
Yeah.
Right.
Good evening. Are you hear me?
Please.
Okay. So good evening to all of you. And it is a great privilege to me to speak few minutes on this occasion. We all know recently we have celebrated 300 programs in higher education institutions, particularly in degree colleges, government degree colleges, 79 degree colleges. We have celebrated this event in 79 degree colleges, and we have invited prominent speakers, and speakers highlighted the life and the great works of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. Before this program, actually in this area, particularly in Telangana, we don't know about the Ahilyabai Holkar because the history forgets and neglects the history of persons like this Ahilyabai Holkar. So after celebrating this mega event, we all of in this area, we came to know about the history and legacy of the Ahilyabai Holkar. So in the future also, we will celebrate programs like this. The history forgets about the many stalwarts. So definitely we will try to bring the history and life of the eminent personalities in India. So thank you, Yadaya sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Bhaskar. So I request Swapna madam from Junior College. please take 1 or 2 minutes. One minute, please.
Yeah, namaste everyone. Namaste Geeta Bhatna. It's very happy to see the Ahilyabai Holkar birthday celebration, and you have given us a great time. It's my privilege to share that we celebrated in 23 colleges, and we are very happy for the successful program. And this program has given a many inspiration for the women as well as for the girl child and everyone. And it is very nice, and we have revoked again our history. And thank you. Am I audible? Actually, I'm out of state.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Thank you, madam. Swapna ji. Now I request. Okay, madam. Thank you. We are audible. Okay. Now I request from University Kavita madam, our state Mahila Pramukh, Kavita madam, Professor Kavita madam garu.
Namaste, sir.
Please.
Geeta madam, namaste madam. Regarding the Rajmata Ahilyabai Holkar of the Queen of Maharani of Malwa, really we have started the inaugural function in Osmania University, where the Vice Chancellor of Chakali Ahilyabai University was the chief guest of that, and really it was wonderful. Many people, teachers joined in that online meeting, and it was very successfully. Not only that, we have conducted many programs in university, and let us all continue the legacy of the Maharani Ahilyabai Holkar in future also. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, madam. Now I request Professor Madam Sujata madam ji. Professor Sujata madam is there? Sujata madam. Okay. So today our chief guest, Professor Geeta Bhatt, All India Akhil Bharatiya Rashtriya Shakshik Mahasangh General Secretary. So now I request madam, please.
Hi, namaskar to all.
Namaste.
Respected convener of the Akhil Bharatiya Rashtriya Shakshik Mahasangh Higher Education Telangana Unit, Dr. Yadayya ji. Co-conveners of the Telangana Unit, Professor Raj Reddy ji, Dr. Jayant ji, Professor Kishan ji, Dakshin Kshetra Pramukh, Professor Sujata ji, the National Joint Secretary of the Women's Wing of Akhil Bharatiya Rashtriya Shakshik Mahasangh, and all the respected members of ABRSM Telangana Unit who are today present in this online program. I first of all take this opportunity to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be present here amongst all of you regarding the Ahilyabai Holkar Tricentenary celebrations. Today, 31st May 2025, it is the conclusion of the year-long celebrations of the Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar centenary celebrations. Akhil Bharatiya Rashtriya Shakshik Mahasangh in the last 1 year has been organizing programs, various lectures, and other initiatives have been taken by the ABRSM units all across the country. And we saw that at more than 1,500 places in the country, such programs were organized. 4,890 such programs were organized, where more than 6 lakh people participated in these programs which were organized. And a special mention, as Kishan ji was also mentioning, and Yadayya ji also mentioned, and all other respected members, Shelja ji, Bhaskar ji, Kavita ji, they mentioned that how the Telangana unit had taken a very special drive of organizing more than 300 programs, and I was told that 330 programs were organized in 300 hours, where there were competitions were organized, lectures which were organized on the life, administrative, and various aspects of the life of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar, where nearly 40,000 participants across the state were part of these celebrations. So this definitely needs to be lauded, and the State Unit Higher Education needs to be congratulated for their effort. Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar, I think, is one of the legends in the Indian history, which somehow in the past more than 7 decades of independence somehow could not find the place in the pages of the historical documents of in our curriculums or in the general public memory of this country. I think Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar is, it is why there is an importance attached to her is that her life, and as a queen or as a ruler of the central India, which was part of Malwa, which is in today's context, if we see, it is part of Madhya Pradesh and some part of Maharashtra, which was the part of Malwa kingdom, which she ruled for nearly 30 years. I mean, today, if we try to look into the context of, being a leader in any aspect, in any form in the country, or the political leadership, we understand that ruling a country or a state for more than 30 years, nearly 30 years, is not a small feat. How exceptionally well she must have conducted herself as an administrator, as a ruler, someone who became a legend in her lifetime, someone who was worshipped by the people of her state, someone who became a part of folklores during her lifetime. What must have been her conduct, how must have been her, life, that she was so much revered and so much respected by the people of her country, of her state. Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar, born in the year 1725 in a very small village called Chondi. She was born in a shepherd's community. I think her life also gives us an opportunity in the today's context, in the today's social, political, economic context. It is important to see and note that Ahilyabai Holkar ji, the kind of myths that have been propagated or the fault lines that are being propagated in today in the country, whether it is related to communities or whether it is related to women discourse, I think she is one who breaks this all. She has been one of the greatest leaders, I think, of the 18th century. And that is why she stood apart during, among her contemporary kings or rulers of that time in the 18th century. In 1725, born in a small village of Chondi, she was accidentally discovered by the Holkar dynasty, the person who started the Holkar dynasty, Malhar Rao Holkar. Malhar Rao Holkar was looking after Malwa, which was the part of the greater Maratha kingdom. And as a part of the greater Maratha kingdom, he was also very close to the Peshwa, who was ruling from Pune. And he, when discovered accidentally while visiting Chondi, seeing that time Ahilyabai Holkar was a very small girl, 9 to 10 years old. But when Malhar Rao Holkar came across Ahilyabai, he was very much impressed by, by her dedication, the way she was serving very old people, where the way she was serving poor near a temple, her conduct, her aura was very impressionable personality, in a way initiated the thought in Malhar Rao Holkar's mind to bring her as his daughter-in-law and marry her to his son Khande Rao. And this is how Ahilyabai Holkar, she came into the kingdom of Malwa as the wife of Khande Rao Holkar. She was having a very happy married life. She had 2 children, 1 son, 1 daughter. And her son Male Rao and daughter Mukta Bai, it was a not only happy, blissful life she was leading, but at the same time, her father-in-law, seeing her, sharp mind and very quick learning of skills, was also in a way training her in various aspects of the administrative, military work of the state. And therefore, in her training, she was not only looking after the various aspects of the governance of the state, but also how, the army has to be prepared, what kind of equipment has to be used. I mean, all aspects of governance, military rulership was being taught to her. And it was not only just her father-in-law, Malhar Rao Holkar, but even her mother-in-law, Gautami Bai, who herself was a very distinguished individual. She had her own stamp, and she had temples made. She herself had made many temples. There was a small town which was named after Gautami Bai, Gautami Nagar, in that area. She also inspired and motivated Ahilyabai Holkar to run the various aspects of administration. It was very unfortunate that, she lost, Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar lost all her loved ones during her lifetime. Without going into too much details, because that is aspect itself will, requires a large amount of time to talk about that aspect. But yes, she lost her husband in the Battle of Kumber in 1754. And after that, in some very tragic circumstances, she lost her son, her son-in-law, her grandson, her daughter. In spite of, seeing so much of personal loss and hardship in her personal life, I think it was very commendable for her to kind of rise, as a phoenix and take charge of the Malwa kingdom. If we try to look at or place ourselves in her shoes and try to see that how we would have been in her place when we would have lost all our loved ones, we would have been totally shattered. It would have been very difficult for us to think beyond our personal grief. But Ahilyabai Holkar, she mustered her courage and looked beyond her personal loss, her personal tragedy, and looked at her state, the subjects of the state, and in a way took the responsibility, considering them as her own children, that she is going to look after them. Her administrative abilities were really exceptional. How she ran her state, the kind of challenges she faced, how she came across them. Not only that, even when she was being made the ruler of Malwa, at that time also it was not so easy, because there was resistance. There was resistance from within the Maratha kingdom, where there were others who wanted to take over Malwa state, and one of them was someone who was very close to the Peshwa, the Pune Peshwa, a relative of the Peshwa of Pune, Raghunath Rao, who was called as Raghoba. And he was also a great warrior, and he had won a very significant battle in Punjab. And while returning, when he came to know about this, that in Malwa, it is at present, there is no male here. He thought that probably he can, go with his army and put his show of strength in front of Ahilyabai Holkar and take over the charge of Malwa. But Ahilyabai Holkar, she being a very sharp politician, administrator, she trained her own army of women and sent a letter while she placed her commander-in-chief, and sent him along with the army of Malwa kingdom on the borders to protect the borders. She also prepared a woman unit of the army and sent a letter to Raghoba stating that, we are prepared to fight you. We have come to know that you are there with your very strong army and you are a great warrior. You are just coming from Atak after winning a great war. But please do remember that we are all ready to take a fight with you. And remember that if I lose, if I win, then you know how history is going to put you, or going to talk about you, that you lost a battle from a woman queen. But if I lose, even then, people will remember that how there was a widow whom you tried to, defeat by bringing your army. So such a letter, it really rattled Raghoba, and he was, in fact, was unable to decide whether to move forward and fight or retrieve back. But he could sense it that even from the Peshwa of the Maratha kingdom was not in very much favor of him going forward and having a fight with Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. In fact, the wife of Peshwa, Ramabai, she wanted that, she was also in favor that Ahilyabai Holkar should be made the ruler of Malwa. And she put forward her wish and her opinion to the Peshwa. This also, it shows that how even in 18th century, women had a role to play and a significant role to play in the administration and in the way, the kingdoms were used to be run or governed at that time. And in a way, it also breaks this myth that women were, subject to only household work during the 18th or the 17th century in this country. There are, in fact, Ahilyabai Holkar ji, she breaks many such myths. The kind of fault lines that a particular, that only certain communities were rulers in this country. She herself belonged to a shepherd community and became the queen of Malwa. As a woman, how she governed for 30 long years the state of Malwa, that shows that the society had the capacity to accept a woman as a leader of the society or of a kingdom. So even the woman discourse in this country, which has largely been influenced by the Western thought process, that also, I think it is time that by this opportunity of talking about Ahilyabai Holkar ji, we need to relook at the way the woman discourse has been shaping up in this country for the last 7 decades. So Ahilyabai Holkar ji herself, she not only thought of her own state, but of the whole nation as how for the last many centuries, when there have been many attacks and people in this country have somehow been very disheartened in terms of their cultural movings, in terms of how their, temples were to be preserved or to be looked after. She decided that she needs to either rebuild or make new temples or to provide such facilities so that people can be encouraged. They can feel that strength of their, cultural unity, the feeling of that being of the Hindu traditions of this country, that how that belief has to be reinstated in the people of this country. And it was not only her own state, but across the country. And imagine that how she would have convinced the other states, other rulers, to give her an opportunity to build or rebuild such temples. And what is more important also is to remember that it was not the state money that she used for rebuilding these temples. It was her own personal money that she used, which was called as khagaji. It was her own personal treasures which she used for this purpose. In fact, in her own kingdom, in her own palace, every day there were nearly 300 to 350 people who used to have food. But for that food, the payment was not done by the treasury of the state. It was her own personal money which she used to spend to feed the people inside her own palace. I mean, just look at the thought process of her and look at the magnanimity, the kind of personality she had, the kind of large-heartedness that she had. In fact, the Nizam of Hyderabad, he called her Matoshri. And Nizam of Hyderabad had said that it was Ahilyabai Holkar who was truly who was truly rightfully the descendant or the one who could take the ownership of Malhar Rao Holkar, because she was the one who really utilized the treasury and took forward the mission and the dream of Malhar Rao Holkar forward. In fact, one of the very famous historians, John Malcolm, who was also the governor of Bombay for a very long period of time, and who personally interacted with the staff who had served Ahilyabai Holkar while writing a book on the kingdoms of the central India. He personally interviewed those people who had served Ahilyabai Holkar, and while writing about Holkar dynasty, he gives a very detailed living style and how Ahilyabai Holkar ji, how she conducted her courts. And he writes that because in Hindus there was no parda pratha, there was no veil that was kept, that was the reason that Ahilyabai Holkar could actually for a long period of time could work for long hours and could look after the state subject or administrative details for long hours. And he writes that the life story of Ahilyabai Holkar is an epoch in the Indian history, which cannot be neglected. And without this, the Indian history is incomplete to be studied or to be looked into. So there is a long list of such temples right from Kanyakumari to Uttarkashi to Kedarnath to Badrinath that she had, and so was the case from Kashi Vishwanath temple to Gaya, that there have been nearly 200 such temples and or dharamshalas which have been identified, or ghats which have been identified across the country where Lokmata Ahilyabai had, he had helped in rebuilding such places or building new ghats. Even in Ayodhya ji, she had sent her emissary to look there and to see if any temple rebuilding of the temple is required or if anything we can do. And in fact, there are some important Bhairav Mandir and there are many ghats in Ayodhya which were built by Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar at that time. So there are such innumerable such instances which can be quoted. In fact, Colonel R.D. Stewart, who visited Kedarnath in the year 1880, and in his travelogue he writes that the dharamshala or the place where I stayed and the pond where I received water from at such heights, it was built by Lokmata Ahilyabai. So look at what a legend she was, that in the year 1818 a man visits and says that this place, the dharamshalas were built by Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. And therefore she was always there to support artists, to support those who were doing literary work, poets. And Moro Pant, who was a very famous poet, Marathi poet, he had compared Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar with the Ganga river. And he writes in his poem that, oh Ganges, I go to visit Ahilyabai Holkar because just like you, she is also world famous. And this is so because both of you have served the humanity in a very, very important and significant way. If we look at the administrative side of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar, we see that in her state, she was the one who believed in delivering justice. and someone who believed in righteousness. And that is how, when the leadership, in any state or in any institution, when the leadership believes in following the rules in righteousness, it is the same, the conduct which actually propagates down into the officers or the ministers. And that is why it was Lokmata Ahilyabai's, her conduct was in such a way that all her ministers, all her officials, they believed in following the footsteps of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. She not only believed in giving justice to each and everyone in an equal manner, but also believed in inclusion of those who were not a part of the mainstream of the society. There were a large number of Pindaris in the hilly area of Malwa who used to, loot the tourists or the businessmen who used to travel in that area. So she decided that it is important that we need to integrate them into the society. We must do something so that they are encouraged to be part of the civil society. And therefore, she decided to give them the responsibility of running the show, of protecting the people who were crossing these such type of areas. Not only that, she also gave them a monthly income for protecting businessmen or tourists or travelers who were passing through the hilly areas of Malwa, but also gave them land, gave them cattle, so that they have sufficient resources to feed their families, and are discouraged to going into looting or in any way causing any kind of hardships to any people. So this was something today when we talk about social harmony, we realize that Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar has been propagating this for a she in her state was already practicing this. But at the same time, if someone was not listening to the guidelines which were given by the state, she was also a very strict ruler. She believed in giving punishment to those who did not follow the rules. And there are many such instances. For example, there was one person called Mandroop Singh who decided to go against the state, who decided not to follow rules and believed in looting people. And he was severely punished by Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar, also to set as an example in front of others. That it is important that people or individuals, while they need to protect or look after themselves, but at the same time, what needs to be taken care of, that they do not harm others while protecting themselves. So such was the administrative capabilities of Ahilyabai Holkar. She was, if we look at her in terms of woman empowerment, there was a law in her state when if a woman did not have a child and unfortunately lost her husband, then all the property used to go to the state. So there was such instant when there was a very rich businessman of Indore called Dabi Chand. When he died, all his property came to the state. But when his widow came to Ahilyabai Holkar and told her that today, now she is living a life of a destitute, she does not have any material means to support herself. Ahilyabai ji suddenly realized that there was such a law in the country, and she immediately told her army commander Tukoji Holkar to immediately return back all the property and amended such laws so that such women who lost her husbands, they do not have to live lives of a destitute, and they can have a respectable life to live. She made many such amendments. She believed and encouraged women to go and get education. In fact, there are 43 designated temples in the records where she made schools. And the schools were not just for children, but also for various kinds of studies, including astrology, astronomy, of medical science, of law. And so that, there was holistic development which took place in terms of education. There were various streams which were being taught, and she encouraged people to send their girls to schools so that they could get education. She herself was she could read. She read Puranas all by herself, and it was her father, Mahatji Shinde, who actually decided to, when she was a young child, to ensure that she learned how to read. And that is why she herself believed that women, they need to be encouraged, they should be self-reliant. When it came to encouraging businessmen to come and do business in her state, she made many kind of tax relaxations and encouraged people to come to Indore and to Malwa to do business. In fact, her taxation policy is also something very interesting. In fact, her whole administration actually could be a subject of research, and people could actually take this as case studies and look into that, how she decided that in her administration, it was a 8-12, that if a tree bears 12 fruits, then 8 would be that of the farmer, and the rest could go to the treasury. So there were many such initiatives which she took. She tried to streamline and document and put forth such administrative laws where there could be people were not in any way by the officials, they could not be cheated. Everything needs to be in black and white. Such was the case of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. Today, we know that the kind of challenges we are facing, as in terms of saving our environment. She herself was, I think, a great environmentalist. She was very much concerned not only about her people but also about the animals of her state, and therefore there were many such initiatives which she took place, that where she believed that there should be water should be amply available for the animals also, for their well-being. And we know the city of Indore, how it was a small town and how she beautifully shaped it into a city, how she made the water bodies which are there in Indore and nearby areas were actually built up by Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. In fact, she was so much into looking after of animals. One incident that I can recollect is that of when she was visiting Badrinath. She visited Badrinath, and at one place she was resting, and she saw that there was a boy who was hitting a cow very badly. And so she asked that small boy, "Why are you hitting this cow?" And the boy said that because she has eaten all the, she raised into my field and she has eaten a large amount, of what was there in my field. So Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar gave her, a coin and said that you don't beat her and you just leave her. And this can compensate for what loss has been done by her. But when she, when this news went to the nearby village, everybody was very much surprised that there was this queen who has come and he was given a coin to this boy. So the whole village lined up in front of her and said that, all our fields have been eaten up by the cattle and we are very much in distress. Of course, Lokmata Ahilyabai was a very, very able administrator. She could see through that, the people are making it up. But she then decided to give a bag full of coins to the villagers and said, "I am giving this to you, but only on one condition. And that condition is that this whole area now you are going to keep free for the cows, so that they can graze here and they can eat the grass. And you are not going to grow any kind of crop in this area." And that whole area, even today, those who have visited Badrinath, they must have come across a place called Gochar. So that place was actually called as Gochar after the Ahilyabai Holkar's initiative. In this October, there is a huge door which has been made over there in the name of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. And the local people say that this cannot be traced in any history books, but it is through, the oral history that from our ancestors, we have been knowing this story, and this story has been, moving forward from one generation to another. So such was the case of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. I went to Kolkata some time back, and there I came to know from one of the history teachers a very interesting incident. And that was that some of you must have heard of Rani Roshmani. Rani Roshmani was a very illustrious Bengali woman who was, who had a hold in Jamidari in the area of Kolkata and the nearby area, and who gave a very good resistance to the Britishers. And she was there, in the late 18th and the 19th century in that area. She decided the famous Dakshineshwar temple of Kolkata was actually made by Rani Roshmani. She was a widow. And while she was building that temple, Dakshineshwar temple holds a very important significance because Ramakrishna Paramhans, the one who was the teacher of Swami Vivekananda, he was the priest of that temple, designated priest who lived all his life in that temple. Swami Vivekananda ji, took his lessons from Ramakrishna Paramhans in Dakshineshwar temple. So such an important, significant temple was built by Rani Roshmani. But at that time, there were some people who objected to her and said that you are a widow, how you are making a temple? So Rani Roshmani at that time, she gave the example of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. And she said that in the 18th century, there was this illustrious queen who not only, she was a widow and she not only made such wonderful temples, not only in her own state, but across the country. So when she could do this, then why is it that I cannot do and make a temple? So this also shows that how there has been a continuing legacy where women, not in just one century, but across the centuries, there is a illustrious history of such heroines in our history, where whether it is Rani Chennamma, whether it is Rani Abakka, or Rani Lakshmibai, Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. In every century, we come across such legendary women who have contributed to, to the nation as rulers, as poets, as saints. So there has been a very rich tradition. And Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar's 300th birth anniversary gave us this opportunity to look back into history and to cherish the deeds that have been done by Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar. I think Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar's legacy, it may not have been about territorial expansions or of military conquest per se, but it has been about a very profound social and spiritual contribution, which I think continues to inspire us. As a ruler, she has shown us that the traditional values can very well harmonize with the governance and as well as for the well-being of the people of a state. I would like to conclude this this particular presentation of mine with a few lines of a poem that was written by a British poetess called as Joanna Baillie. Joanna Baillie came to India in the 19th century, and when she came to know about this legendary queen, she was so much impressed that she decided that she's going to write a poem about it. In fact, Annie Besant has, when she came to know about Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar, she extensively read about her and wrote about her and said that a woman who has contributed to almost every aspect of governance in her state. Why is it that she is revered only in a certain section of this country? She should actually be an idol. She should be revered and worshipped across the country. This is how Annie Besant has written about Ahilyabai Holkar. And Joanna Baillie, she wrote a poem which is available on the internet, and she published it in London. When she went back to England, she published it in London in the year 1849. So there are a few lines that from her poem that I would like to express over here. For 30 years, her reign of peace, the land in blessings did increase, and she was blessed by every tongue, by stern and gentle, old and young. In latter days from Brahma came to rule our land a noble dame. Kind was her heart and bright was her fame, and Ahilya was her honored name. Thank you so much. Dhanyavad.
Thank you very much, Madam Ji. Given a depth information, inspiring a lot, Madam. So before going to start this Ahilyabai Holkar program in Telangana ABRSM, 300 birth anniversary, 300 hours, 300 programs, 300 in higher education institutes. And before start this program, 300 of Lokmata Ahilyabai Holkar a little bit. It is a very difficult without that, Madam. But is the inspiration of the Lakshman Ji, we started and we achieved more than 300 program. That is 327 program, Madam. This program has given a lot of confidence, Madam. There is no doubt by which 30 to 40 members of our ABRSM members become a good speakers. So went and given a lectures in different institutions. So we expected ABRSM organization all over corner of the Telangana state, Madam, by this program. So, and also I am thanks to you, Madam. You given a inspirational and complete information regarding the Lokmata Devi Ahilyabai Holkar. Thank you very much, Madam. Before going to this, vote of thanks by Rajireddy, Professor Rajireddy garu. Rajireddy sir. Professor Rajireddy sir.
ఉన్నాడా రాజిరెడ్డి సార్?
Jagan ji. Jagan sir.
శైలజ మేడం చెప్పమని చెప్పు. సుజాత మేడం చెప్పమని.
జగన్ భాయ్ ఓ కన్వీనర్.
సుజాత మేడం చెప్పమని. అదే సార్.
మేడం జీ, సుజాత మేడం జీ.
No. Yeah, sir. I'm here online.
Online. Jagan ji, vote of thanks, sir.
हेलो.
हाँ हेलो.
बहुत बधाई मैडम, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैडम. आज मुख्य वक्ता के रूप से आकर हम सभी को आशीर्वाद दे दिया है. हम ये तो जो ahilyabai होलकर का प्रोग्राम तेलंगाना राज्य में वो अच्छी तरह से लक्ष्मण जी जो मार्गदर्शन हमको दिया है उसी प्रकार हमने 300 सोचा, लेकिन 300 से ज्यादा से कर आज समाप्त समारोह में आप आकर हमको अच्छा संदेश दिया है और अच्छी मोटिवेशन दिया है. आपको बात से धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ. सभी को भी नमस्कार. कल्याण मंत्र वंशी जी इफ्लू. वंशी सर.
शांति मंत्र.
कल्याण. ओके. शांति मंत्र कौन है वो? वंशी इफ्लू.
అన్నా నేను చెప్పనా?
చెప్పమ్మా. ఓకే ఓకే.
ఓం సర్వే భవంతు సుఖినః, సర్వే సంతు నిరామయాః, సర్వే భద్రాణి పశ్యంతు, మా కశ్చిద్ దుఃఖభాగ్ భవేత్. ఓం శాంతి శాంతి శాంతి.
నమస్తే.